Today we're going to talk about something that interests me quite a lot, and it is how to become an ethical breeder. There are breeders and then there are ethical breeders. What's the difference? The difference is simple. A breeder is somebody who brings two dogs together, mates them, and has puppies and sells. That's a breeder. Now, an ethical breeder is something different. An ethical breeder has to put an icing on the cake, has to do something entirely different from the normal breeder. What are these things that the ethical breeder needs to do? First and foremost, you need to research the breed you want to breed. You need to know everything about the breed you want to breed, especially since you want to breed, you have to know the genetics of the breed you want to breed. So it's not just pairing two dogs. There are two dogs you have to pair for specific reasons, either to improve something or to remove something. And if you don't know anything about the genetics of the dog, you're not going to be able to do that. Secondly would be, you need to have a breeding program. It's not every time your dog comes on heat, you just cross the dog and you breed puppies and you ship them all off there. There has to be a breeding program. When should a dog be bred? How many times should it be bred a year? How do you keep it when it's bred? How do you keep the puppies when they come? What do you do in that period that it's taking care of the puppies? An ethical breeder is concerned about that. So an ethical breeder would basically plan his breeding program, maybe 1 or 2 breedings a year, and then that's it. An ethical breeder also must be ready and know when to euthanize a dog that is bad, a dog that has genetic issues that you know that the cost of veterinary care for whoever is going to get that dog is going to skyrocket. So what do? You euthanize the dog. There are no sentiments here. It's about making sure that the next person who is going to own the dog is happy with the dog he buys from you. Most breeders will not even euthanize a dog. They'll sell a dog that is black. There are certain genetic things that dogs inherit. So if you're an ethical breeder, you will know that, okay, if I have too much of this overload of this in the gene, there's no need selling that dog. I euthanize the dog. A follow-up to, you must know when to castrate a dog if it needs to be castrated, or you need to make sure that the dog doesn't, because if it has a fault, it's a beautiful dog, it has a fault, you're in love with the dog, but those faults are not faults you need to pass on to the next generation. You should know what to do. That's what an ethical breeder does. An ethical breeder has to have a good kennel. You have to make sure that the kennel that you have, your dogs are comfortable, the roof is high, there's a lot of airflow, the dogs are kept in very good conditions, they are fed very well. Taking care of the dog is important to an ethical breeder. An ethical breeder also wants to breed to improve the stock he has. So you're not breeding just to throw out puppies. You're breeding to improve or maintain the breed standard of the dog, of the breed that you're breeding. So you know the breed standard, you know what is expected of you, and you know what you should be getting at the end of the day. So when you're mating your dogs, you take a dog, you know what the pluses and minuses are. You take another bitch, you know what the pluses and minuses are, and you know the combinations that should give you what you want. That's what an ethical breeder does. A follow-up to this for an ethical breeder is that when you're placing your puppies, where do you place them? Do you just, anybody that just walks into your compound, just can pay the right price, you sell the puppy to the person? An ethical breeder is careful where his puppies go. His puppies are his advertisement. His puppies are the guarantee that tomorrow somebody else will come and buy puppies from him. So he should be able to know. Ask the person who wants to buy a puppy, why do you want the puppy? Are you conversant with this breed? What are you going to do with this dog? Where is it going to be housed? All those kind of questions are important before you give out a puppy to anybody. So because you're considering the next generation of your dogs, where are they going to? How are they going to be handled? Can you go back to that place where if you need those genes again, can you actually go back to that person? So these are some of the questions that an ethical breeder takes care of before he starts to breed or knows what he's doing. So it's the difference between being an ethical breeder. An ethical breeder, let me say it again, you know the breed history, you know the genealogy, you take care of the dogs, you don't overbreed the dogs, you know when to euthanize or when to castrate, and you know where you place your dogs, and you do a follow-up on where you place your dogs. You take care of your dogs so they get the adequate nutrition that they need, they get the adequate housing that they need, they get the adequate care and exercise, and if possible training that they need. That's the difference between a man who just puts two dogs together and has puppies, and a man who is an ethical breeder. Thank you.